Hi, this is Stephanie coming to you again from Atlanta, and this is Module 6, Listening to Your Community. But this time, this is a joint presentation with Krista Myers and myself. I'll do the first part, and then Krista will take it home. So let's get started. Um, when Krista and I first started talking about doing a joint project together, we initially talked about doing something about cyber abuse because we both had a little bit of a brush with that, and we were very interested in exploring issues and communities that were focused on privacy and the internet. As you can imagine, though, there's not a bunch of communities that unite themselves on the internet because they've experienced cyber abuse or privacy issues online. So we decided to take a different tact, and we did find a number of different groups that were actually quite interested in those issues. We found a group that we found lots of groups. One group, everything ranging from opposing drones for any kind of domestic use to online credit card security issues. But we landed on this group because the issues were of interest to both of us, and that is iKeepSafe.org. It's a nonprofit group. It was founded in 2005. Its vision is there on the screen: to see generations of the world's children grow up safely using technology and the internet. The mission statement talks about they're going to do that by giving parents, educators, and policymakers information and tools which empower them to teach those children. So that's how they're going to go about addressing their worries, concerns, and fears, and the things that they talk about. We'll get into that in just a second. They're a pretty sophisticated group, and I've been very impressed as the more we looked at them, how they get into that, because they totally get the idea of communities, and they've broken down, even on their own group, even in their own community, they've broken that down into further communities of computer or internet professionals, parents, educators, youth groups themselves, faith-based communities, particularly churches and church youth groups, and business and government partners. And because they're a nonprofit, these partnerships are really important to them. They have more than 100, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. These are wide-ranging programs, but the way that they make them work is that they take sometimes the same information and tailor it to that particular niche or community. And I'd like to share an example of that, because that's how they get at addressing these worries or concerns. They stay very focused on their worries or concerns that way, but they just tailor the information to these different communities. This is an example of how I think they're really good at that, and they took the youth group. They only had 2 items under the youth group tab. One was the use of cell phones, which we can imagine what that's about, and the other is this faux pas, the TechnoCat, which made me laugh out loud when I first saw it. But of course, you see he's got this Take the Prevent Cyberbullying pledge, which that was no surprise, but then he's got a whole story about the dangerous download that he had. It's very clever. And they talk a lot about everything. They call it the crap detector. No, I didn't just make that up. Currency, reliability, authority, and point of view. And they talk to kids about how to determine whether something is reliable when they come across it on the web. And they even get across points about copyright and plagiarism in a very clever, easy to understand way. And the target age is about the 8th grade. It's very interesting how they do that. And some of these same issues are in the parents and educators guides, and even the professional guides, and but they don't do it the same way. So, but it's some of the same information, almost exactly down to the verbiage. So it's very interesting how they know their audiences as well as they do, and just are able to take the time to tailor it. So what they're concerned about, what worries them, what they're talking about is pretty much categorized into these categories. Of course, we talked about cyberbullying and cyber safety. But digital citizenship and educational issues are the big ones that you see, and then of course there I Keep Safe News. But I found a good bit of overlap among all of these categories. And again, what they're doing is repackaging a lot of the same materials for the different categories. But in general, they're talking about what they call cyber civics, collaborating, creating, and sharing online in the 21st century in an ethical, responsible, and resilient way. Wow, don't we need that now? So there's overlapping issues here that talk about limiting time and balancing screen time and how to be a good citizen online. And there's even a blog on here I noticed about the LA School District, the recent issue where the kids hacked into the iPads they were given to eliminate the blocks that were put in there, the safety blocks, so the kids couldn't get to some of the online platforms that the school had deemed not appropriate. And they capture those current issues, and they're tracking trends very carefully and are capturing those, and they're doing a real fine job doing those as well. So as we started, as Krista and I really started exploring this group and learning more about them, we decided our process here was generally divide and conquer, by the way. That's the very high-tech process we used. We looked at this group and tried to learn as much about them as we could. We looked at their keywords and the things about them that concerned them. And then we looked at the monitoring tools and tried to enter as many keywords as they had, and tried to learn as much as we could about them through these monitoring tools. So in doing that, we came across this particular website that they had helped create as part of National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Who knew October was National Cybersecurity Awareness Month? And as part of the National Cybersecurity Alliance, the I Keep Safe group had posted and tweeted information about this on their blog and had shared a lot of this information, and so had a lot of these heavy hitter partners as well. So and that includes Google, Facebook, some of the other software companies. So they're in good company, and they've all been sharing a lot of this information, and I tweeted this information using our class hashtag, so you could see this. This is good information for your own computer at home if you're interested in it, so I thought you'd have that. We found some other interesting things about this group during our monitoring, and I think Krista's going to share that with you now, right, Krista?